Welcome, you found Living Proof NDE, a place where we narrate true stories of near-death experiences that show us that death is not the end. Here, we explore accounts of peace, love, and wonder, glimpses of life beyond this one, stories that reassure us that our departed loved ones and even our beloved pets are never truly lost. Join us as we step into the mystery and discover the living proof that hope and love endure forever. Because love and life never end, this is Living Proof NDE. This is a NDE story from Riley H., posted to NDERF's website. Riley died from a Jetski accident June 2025. She tells a fascinating account of her time in heaven before returning to her body. I died and met God. It was supposed to be an ordinary day at the lake. No partying, no reckless stunts, just me, the sun, two friends, and the water. It was about 7 p.m. We were making one last ride before calling it a day. We had already fallen off the jet ski earlier and were getting back on when, as we sat down and got ready to go, the machine slipped forward and shot out from underneath me while I stood still. I didn't hit anything, there wasn't a crash, but the force of the water pressure as it struck me tore through my body internally. It gutted me. That's the only way I know how to explain it. I was torn open from the inside out, and as I looked around, I could see blood surrounding me in the water. I realized my insides were coming out. They got me back on the jet ski and headed to shore. Everything that was supposed to be inside me was coming out, and I saw it. By the grace of God, we made it to shore. Someone had already called for help after hearing my screams. They laid me down on a picnic table, bleeding, broken, and slipping away. But that's when the next trauma began. My lungs wouldn't expand. Water had filled my abdomen and created pressure around my chest. I couldn't breathe. My body couldn't breathe. The little oxygen I had in that moment was all I could get in and out of my lungs. I started to suffocate, and I knew I was dying. But here's the strangest part. I didn't feel fear. As I watched people around me panic, a heavy calm settled over me. Everything got quiet. It was like time slowed down, just for me. I looked around, fully aware, and began to make peace with what was coming. Then the ambulance arrived. They lifted me in, and the moment those doors shut behind me, I died. The moment my spirit left. I left my body. I could see it, but I was no longer attached to it. There was no pain, no panic, just complete awareness. And then something unexpected happened. I had a life review. Every single person I had ever loved appeared before me. I remembered what they smelled like, what they sounded like, faces from my childhood, loved ones I had forgotten, people who had passed years ago. Every soul that left a mark on mine came flooding back. As I began to ascend, I wasn't flying through clouds. I was rising in understanding. I saw the impact of my death. I was being shown how it would break the hearts of the people I loved. At the same time, I started receiving knowledge, things I had never studied, truths I never asked for, and some I did. So much wisdom was downloaded into me as the veil was lifting. And then, I arrived somewhere. A glimpse of heaven. It was the most beautiful peace I've ever known, not just emotionally, but physically, visually, spiritually. The colors, the calm, the overwhelming presence of love. It was heaven, or at least part of it. Then, a light appeared. It started as what looked like the most breathtaking sunset I'd ever seen. But as it got closer, I saw it wasn't just a sunset. there was a silhouette of a man made of light, love, peace, power, truth, but not just any man. It was God. I knew it instantly. He didn't have to say his name. He was the name. His presence said everything. And then he spoke, but not out loud. He didn't need to. He spoke straight into me, into my spirit. Love is a choice. I am love. And that life back there was about me. And you didn't choose me. You missed the boat. That moment wrecked me. I panicked. I wept. I repented with everything in me. I felt regret, deep, gut-wrenching, eternal regret. And even then, he was merciful. Then he said, "You've impacted enough of my people, so I'll let you go back, but you must stay awake. If you don't, the cards will lay where they lay." And just before I left, he gave me one last truth. You'll never be able to be perfect. Back in my body. And then, just like that, I was back. In the ambulance, in the pain, in the fight. I would go on to suffer through 5 hours of agony with no pain meds, no sedation, no answers. Just me, bleeding out and holding on. But I lived. Not because I was lucky, not because I was strong, but because God sent me back. To live intentionally, to point people toward Him, to remind the world that this isn't it. Death is not the end. It's the most loving transition we'll ever experience, if we know Him. I don't tell this story because it's dramatic. I tell it because it's real. I met God, and He's not an idea. He's not just a higher power. He is real. He is love. And He's waiting. I was dead, and now I'm alive. Not just in body, but in spirit. And I'll never be the same again.
If this story moved you or gave you something to think about, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Living Proof NDE for more real experiences from people who've been to the edge and back. Your support helps us share more stories of hope and light.